Hi, I'm Pam Kello, and I'm going to show you how to install the decal pup with Goslings. I'm going to show you first of all our tools that we have to use. You will need a blow dryer, a toothbrush, a couple of sponges, alcohol, and a rag, cloth. This is scissors, a squeegee, pen, a box cutter with a sharp blade, duct tape for some doors, and I'll explain that later, regular tape, a ruler, and my blade. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean this surface, and I'm going to use the scrubby side of the sponge, but don't be too aggressive with this. We want to be to where we do not scratch any of our doors, and I don't really think it will happen, but the alcohol needs to work on these doors. So I'm going to clean the entire surface of the door. Now I've already cleaned this, so I'm not going to labor it too much for time's sake. A lot of times you will have, now this particular door has a very smooth panel, and because of that there's not a deep crease in here. A lot of your doors, especially if you look at my goat installation that's underneath of the goat photo, you will see that that door is a raised panel door, and it has bevels on it, and it has deep creases on the edge. This one doesn't have. If you have deep creases, you need to use a toothbrush and use the alcohol and scrub way down into all those cracks and crevices, especially on the bottom or anywhere that would be around your surface that would be where people would be touching it and you would get oils or greases or dirt. So be sure that you scrub that all up. Once that's scrubbed, you use your clean, damp sponge, and you use your clear water and you wipe that down. Take your cloth and you dry it as well as you can. But as you know, especially if you do have the deep crevices of where the panels come together, you won't be able to really dry that very well with just a cloth. So that's where your blow dryer comes in. And you take your blow dryer and you begin to blow around this, and you spend a lot of time doing it, at least a minute, minute and a half. And the reason for that is to be sure that it is completely blown dry. Now I'm going to pause in just a minute, but you will blow it dry. Okay, as you can see, I have put blue duct tape on this door. The reason for that is this is a vinyl door, and I want to add an extra layer of protection so that when you use your box cutter, you don't actually cut the vinyl of the door. And I have picked blue because I thought it would show up better in the video. If you're doing this, please be sure that you use black, because then that way if there's any little bit of scraps left behind, it will be black on black, which is your background, and it'll look great. As it is, I did my rooster just a few minutes ago, and the blue came off. It was wonderful. It looks great. So what I'll do is I will take and pull myself a piece of duct tape, and I will install this on the edge only. You don't want it down here on this panel. You want it on the edge and on the edge only. And then that will be where your knife and your box cutter cuts through there. Now, I've installed my duct tape all the way around. Very easy to do. You can see how simple that was. I did that ×4. Now, I'm going to take my pup with Goslings, and the thing about the pup is this. This pup needs to be centered. This little Gosling kind of has to where his little behind is over here. In other words, if you try to center the Goslings this way, it actually throws the pup off center. It was designed to have the pup in the middle. So I'm taking it all the way over here to where it actually will cut this little tiny edge off of this Gosling. And there's a reason for that. And I've already got it positioned in a position that I like. But what I will do is I will take my blue tape and I'm going to put this across the top of the decal. And I put it on there, and I put it on the decal pretty tight, but I'm not going to tack the rest of this just yet. I need to center it to where it will be the position that I need. There's the little ducks behind. It's the gosling, it's not a duck. And I'm going to measure from the top of the door to the top of the decal. That's about 1 3/4, and that's right at the same. So I'm very happy with that positioning. So I'm going to check once again to be sure that I have enough to trim and enough down here to trim, and that my little gosling's tail is over here. Okay, now what we're going to do is you push this down to where it's very secure. I'm going to take my paper and begin to peel the backing off of the back of the decal. And I'm going to go halfway. And I'm actually just going to pick the decal up this way. I'm going to take my little pup, and I'm going to put him on here and just kind of float him down a little bit. And I'm going to continue pulling, and my hand is in the center of the decal. And I'll pop off the edge. Now he's good and secure. I'm going to take my fingers and the palm of my hand and begin to push this down. And what you're trying to do is push out to where it's nice and even. You'll have to pull the edges up because it does have a raised part. And I'm going to go ahead and remove the blue tape from the top. That was my hinge. So this is gone. I'm going to begin now to really put the pup down. I want to get as many wrinkles out as I possibly can do. And you may be left, if anybody has ever installed wallpaper, vinyl wallpaper, or contact paper, you know that sometimes you trap bubbles in there. We will deal with that later. It's not a big deal. But you get this pup down into position. And sometimes it wants to grab onto your duct tape, but that's okay. You'll just work it out because it's worthwhile to have the duct tape on there. Now, once again, if you need to know what it's like to do a raised panel door, go to my installation of the goat that is under the goat on my pages, and you'll see the installation video for that because it is slightly different. And if you do have a wood door, that's fantastic. You don't have to mess with this duct tape unless you're choosing that you want that little extra layer of protection. Now, I'm going to take and lift the edges and really shove this down in here with my thumb to where I have a good solid edge all the way along here. I'm going to flip my door. And once again, lift this up to where it's not grabbing the duct tape. And I'm going to shove it down in to the edges. Now, don't be too aggressive with this. It can scratch, which actually, being as it's farm, that little bit of rustic doesn't hurt anything. But it's not like it's hand painting. It is a decal, and you can actually pull off a little bit of that color. So you want to be very cautious that you're not too aggressive with it. You push your corners up in there, lifting it up once again on this side. I go down here. I'm using my thumb. Now, if you're doing this in a raised panel, you have to really get that down in there. This one is a little more gentle of a slope, so it's not as big an issue. And then lifting it, and once again, pushing that right down into the edges. A little bit of a bubble. I'm going to get him out of there. Okay, now that we're here, and you'll see that you have several bubbles that are trapped. That's not an issue. It's not worth working out at this point and pulling the pup up over and over. Now I'm going to take my blade and I'm going to jam it down into the corner of that. and be sure that it is super tight into that corner. And I'm going to take my blade and begin cutting. And I'm going to cut across. And I'm getting it solidly right into the crease where the panel meets the edge stiles. Okay. When you go to pull this up, it doesn't hurt to actually put your blade right back in there so that you don't pull any of the decal back up. And if the decal comes back up, that's fine. You can push it back down in there. Then putting it right solidly into that corner again. And I'm going to pull this on up to be sure that it's separated. There we go. And coming across. Like I said, if I were doing this my own installation on my own vinyl doors, I would absolutely be using black duct tape. But I wanted everybody to be able to really see this and see the difference between the duct tape and the background of the decal itself. It's doing great. I'm just going to wad that up a little bit. There we go. These doors can get heavy sometimes. Once again, pushing it into the corner. You want to have this really nice crisp edges. It's very important. I'm going to pull that up. Now, I want you to know, I've only installed just about 4 of these decals myself. I'm an artist. I'm not a decal installer. You can see how simple this is. It is amazing to me at how simple and also how durable this product is. If you need to wash it, use a damp cloth. You need to protect your edges. You don't want to be crazy with it and have kids peeling it off. But it's very simple to keep clean, just a nice gentle cloth. Don't scrub it. Once again, that's too aggressive. But just a little gentle cloth, and you can wash it with soap and water. Now, we'll begin to pull our duct tape and be very cautious. And I do not see a single cut on that vinyl, which is really pretty cool. Ooh, that duct tape wants to grab. Pull it away. Now, you can see there's a little bit of the black. I will work that out. I'm not going to take my time on the video. But be very careful working it out. And that's what I say. You can see little lines of blue on here. It would be better if you had the black. But once again, for the purpose of demonstration, I chose blue. Now, my little cup, she has an awful lot of bubbles on her. And like I said, there's a little strings here. You can see that I can pull up some blue. I'm not going to worry with that for the sake of time. I'm going to kind of work this a little bit. Don't overwork it. You do not want to overwork your decal. But when you see that the bubbles are just where they're located, you take your pen and you begin to pierce each one of these and then work the air out. And it's great because you'll never see those holes in there. And you can actually push those air out of those bubbles and work that out. This will take a few minutes to do that. just because of the fact that, you know, you have several on here. I'm really picky. I like them smooth and smooth and smooth. So you can see that that's your pup. And this is your pup with Goslings. And I would like so much to thank everyone for purchasing my product. I'm going to be coming out on a regular basis with a lot of different decals. I'm tentatively got 4 or 5 more farm animals, but you need to check back on my page, Pamela Kello Murals on Facebook, and you can pick up there and see what all my new projects are. Look for me on Shopify and Etsy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.